Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today we are going to be talking about the Overwatch League matches from week 7 for the June Joust tournament. And it wasn't that crazy, I guess, I'll be honest. I may change my mind when I actually remind myself, but we know that two teams have been eliminated in the West region. Two teams are advanced in the West region as well, and one team is also advanced to in the East division. This is also what I mean. Eliminated or advanced. I mean about the June Joust tournament. So let's now have a look at the matches themselves. And obviously, in the first week, Dallas versus London. Not that surprising. It was a 3-0 clean sweep. I think this is also where we got to see Pine for the first time. I may be wrong, someone needs to correct with me. 3-0 Gladiators against Vancouver, not that surprising as well. Even though Vancouver did put up a pretty decent fight in Junkertown and Hanamura, but was it enough? Shanghai 3-0 in Valiant, also not really a big old surprise, just they did really, really well. And this is also the first time that we get to see Molly and another player, which I will get into later when I get to the part where I talk about the changes that has happened. Because there've been some some changes that happened as well. 3-1 Seoul Dynasty against New York, also not that surprising. For next in the West, Houston versus London 3-0, not that surprise. Shock versus Toronto 3-1 against Shock. For Shock, not that surprising. Got Gladiators versus Atlanta, not that surprising as well. 3-1. 3 3-0 New York to Valiant, also not surprising. I guess a little bit surprising here. 3-1. Actually, no, it's not really that surprising, but 3-1 Shanghai against Seoul Dynasty. You just see how dominant they were. And Toronto versus Houston, 3-1 to Houston's way. 3-0 Atlanta's way against Vancouver, and Dallas versus Shock for the final one. It was a 3-1 to Shock's way. I guess that's a little bit of a surprise because Dallas also won melee. But yeah, I guess it just depends. Like, are Shock the best team? Just really depends. I'll be honest. And London obviously not doing that well. They've been I was about to say they've been 3-0'd every time, but they haven't. The only time they actually got a point was against Florida in the first week. So London is also done. Um, Vancouver, I think, also looks like they've been struggling as well. Maybe even worse than London. I don't think so though. But anyways, let's now have a look at the standings for each region. And this is the standings. So you see in the West standings, Atlanta and Houston are already advanced to the finals already. Toronto and London have been eliminated straight away. I mean, it makes sense for London because they've been out forward every time. So Atlanta, Houston, Toronto, and London are done, and now, so we just have to wait for the rest of the teams. There we go. That's what I'm trying to look for. For the East, only Shanghai Dragons have advanced. They got that's literally the best record now, 3-1. New York is also done, but it just depends if the other teams actually get a win or not. So New York is also done. It just really depends. If they do get a win, if any of them even gets a win, then New York is definitely in big trouble. But New York did a very respectable job against some teams. If I just have a look, like they obviously knew they needed points, so it's not too bad. I mean, it was a little bit of a tough schedule for them, but it was still a good effort by the New York Excelsior team, who has really surprised me throughout the week, especially with Feather and Flora. Has definitely been surprising me. So before we get into the changes that happened like prior, I can't remember who I actually talked about in the last one, so I may be a little bit rusty there. But week 8 matches. So this is only going to be for the West region. So it's going to be the rest of the West teams. So first it's going to be Boston versus Paris and Dallas versus Florida. And then Boston versus Gladiators, Shock versus Vancouver, Florida versus Washington. And for the last day, we have Paris versus Gladiators, Vancouver versus Dallas, and Shock versus Washington. I guess we also show this one. This is the first homestand that's hosted by a Chinese, well, actually hosted by a team since the pandemic. So this is hosted by the Hangzhou Spark. So it'll be Guangzhou versus Philly, Chengdu versus Seoul, and Valiant versus Hangzhou first in the first day. And then the second day, it'll be Valiant versus Philly, Guangzhou versus Seoul, and Chengdu versus Hangzhou. So those are the matches left. So that's really about it for that one for the June Joust. Let's now talk about the changes that has happened, I guess, throughout. And where is it? I actually can't find it where it is but oh, there it is. Okay. So the roster moves. I already talked about Reprise and Erster retiring. So who are you? Is the other player I was talking about? He now joins the Shanghai Dragons after retiring earlier. He's back. He's nuttier than ever. Vancouver Titans now has a new main tank to replace Shredlock, who retired. Chansik, he's been in the Overwatch scene since 2016, so he's a veteran player. I'm glad he's now in the Overwatch League, and I'm glad he also gets to improve himself as well. And for the last one, it's only a 30-day contract, and it is Aspire joining the Toronto Defiant from the American Tornado, which is kind of like the British Hurricanes in NA. Now, if my understanding is correct, I think this is mainly because of the players. Some of the players have been a bit ill. I think mainly Logix, if I remember correctly. I think he had like some issue. I think like a like a something with his stomach or something. I can't actually remember, but he did tweet about it. But yeah, so I actually can't remember what it was. So that is the roster moves currently from the regular season, because there have been some. Let's now move on to the actual standings. So the actual standings, which I'll pull up over here. This is what they are. So the Shanghai Dragons is currently still in the lead with 8 points to their name. Then Houston Outlaws second, then Dallas Fuel, San Francisco Shock, Florida Mayhem, the LA Gladiators, Seoul Dynasty both tied. Philadelphia Fusion, Chengdu Hunters, Washington Justice ran out the top 10. Then the Atlanta Reign, Toronto Defiant, Hangzhou Spark, Boston Uprising, New York Excelsior, Paris Eternal, Guangzhou Charge, and with no points to their name, Vancouver Titans, LA Valiant, and the London Spitfire, who are minus 20. I just want to mention minus 20. That's a massive minus. Well, mainly map differential. It's a massive massive. I can't English. Map differential. It also sucks because I think London is going to be the next season one Shanghai Dragons, but without the mismanagement, just the shitty players. I'll be honest. Even though the players aren't that bad, they're just. It's not going great for the London Spitfire. Especially if you're a London Spitfire fan. That is not really what you want to see. But luckily, they get to practice for a couple days. Even a couple weeks, actually, now I think about it. So that is it from me now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.